All right, before we discuss multiplying fractions, which is one of the easiest operations in fractions, we need to review a few things: divisibility rules, how to cancel, and how to change an improper fraction to mixed numbers. So let's go ahead and do that right this minute. So our divisibility rules, remember that if a number ends in an even number, 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, it's going to be divisible by 2. If the digits of a number add to a number that is divisible by 3, then the number is divisible by 3. If the last two digits of a number, greater than 99, are divisible by 4, then the entire number will be divisible by 4. If a number ends in a 0 or 5, then it will be divisible by 5. If a number is both even and divisible by 3, then it's divisible by 6. And if a number ends in 0, then it's divisible by 10. So some examples: 28 divided by 2, it ends in an 8, so it's divisible by 2. It equals 14. 1434 divides by 3 and by 6 divides by 3 because 1 plus 4 plus 3 plus 4 is a number that's divisible by 3. And it's both even and divisible by 3, so we know it divides by 6. 732 is divisible by 4 because it ends in 32. 2,540 is divisible by both 5 and 10 because it ends in a 0, which means it's divisible by 5, and it ends in a 0 means it's divisible by 10. All right, now reviewing mixed numbers to improper fractions. Remember that to change a mixed number to an improper fraction, we're going to multiply a whole number. Oops, the other way around. We'll need this too. So mixed number to improper fraction, let me go ahead and just review that. Mixed number to an improper fraction, multiply the whole number and the denominator, add the fraction's numerator to the product in the step 1, and then put the sum in step 2 over the old denominator. So that looked like 1 1/4, 1 times 4, that's 4, and then plus 1, that equals 5 over the original denominator of 4. Now let's go back and let's check in on changing an improper fraction to a mixed number. You divide the numerator by the denominator. The quotient is the whole number. The remainder is the fraction's numerator, and the fraction's denominator is the same as before. So here we go on that one. We have 5/4, so we're going to divide 5 by 4. 4 will go into 5 one time with 1 left over. So the whole number is 1, the fraction's numerator is 1, and the denominator is the same as it was before, 4, 1 1/4. All right, so now the only thing left to discuss is how to cancel. Canceling is a division process. So if I have 2 over 4, canceling means I'm going to divide out a common factor. So these are both even, so a common factor is 2. So I'm going to divide out that common factor. And when I do, I'm going to cross this out. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And then here I'm going to do the same thing, divide by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, so I cross it out and put the quotient there. And so that was the canceling process. Here it is again, as 4 and 12. The common factor here is 4, so 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And that's canceling. And you can do canceling as long as you're doing one numerator to one denominator. You can't do it across the numerators, you can't do it across the denominators, only numerator to denominator. Now let's learn how to multiply fractions. Multiplying fractions, the first thing we want to do is we want to look and see if there are any common factors, numerators to denominators, that we could cancel. Then we multiply the numerators. Then we multiply the denominators, and then we simplify. We change any improper fraction to a mixed number, and you check to see if you reduced it. If you've done the step number 1 correctly, you should not have any reducing, but it's always a good idea to check, just in case you missed something. So now let's practice our skills. So if I have 2/3 multiplied by 3/5, I look numerators to denominators. Now, nothing in common, so I'm simply going to multiply the numerators. So this looks like 2 multiplied by 5. Remember that dot means multiply. 3 multiplied by 5. So 2 times 5 is 10, and 3 times 5, 2 times 1, what am I doing here? Sorry about that. 2 times 1, numerators multiply, 2 times 1, and that's going to give me equal to 10, to 2. And 3 times 5, which is equal to 15. So we have 2/15. Now let's see if I can do the second one without as much difficulty. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to notice that the 5 and the 7 have a common factor of 5. 5 and the 7, the 5 and the 15. So I will cancel those. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and multiply across. 1 times 4, which is 4, and that goes over 7 times 3, which is 21, and then I'm done. All right, moving on to the next one. We have 3 times 4 in the numerator, 12, and 5 times 5, 25 in the denominator. Now something that gets a lot of students on this particular type of problem, see how the denominators are the same? Well, we've been doing probably a lot of addition of fractions, and when we add fractions, when the denominators are the same, we just carry along that common denominator. And that sometimes gets us caught up with fractions and multiplication. So make sure that you did multiply these denominators to get this new denominator, and you didn't just slip into what you would have done in addition, so that you don't get the wrong answer. All right, finally, 6/7 times 3/2. Now this kind of gives us a highlight of what's to come with doing mixed numbers. So the first thing I'm going to see is if I have any common factors. So I do. I see that 6 and 2 have a common factor of 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. And now there's nothing else in common. Remember, these are both in the numerator, so there's no canceling there. And then I multiply 3 times 3, which is 9, over 7 times 1, which is 7. And that's an improper fraction, so I'll need to change it to a mixed number. 9 divided by 7. 7 goes into 9 one time, with 2 left over. 1 and 2/7 is my final answer. Now how about you try these? Go ahead and pause your video and give it a try. All right. Hopefully you paused your video, gave this a shot. So this one's a really easy one. You multiply straight across. 2 times 4 is 8. And then denominators, 3 times 7, 21. There were no common factors there, so no canceling, no reducing, no mixed numbers, just very straightforward. Okay, now our next problem, we have some common factors. And this time around, you had more than one. So the 3 and the 21 have a common of 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 21 divided by 3 is 7. But there's also a common factor here. They both have 5's in common. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we cancel there. Now we multiply straight across. 1 times 1, which is 1, and 1 times 7, which is 7. And there we go, 1/7. Okay, let's now talk about what happens when we want to multiply mixed numbers. If I want to multiply mixed numbers, I can't do it. Multiplying mixed numbers is not allowed. You have to have an improper fraction. And as soon as you have an improper fraction, boom, we're ready to multiply. So that's the only lesson you need. So let's go ahead. I could have sworn I had a problem. Let's go ahead and do some mixed numbers. So let's do 1 2/3 multiplied by, 2½ So the first step is to change them to improper fractions. 3 times 1 plus 2, 5/3, times 2 times 2 plus 1, 5/2. And then we multiply. 5 times 5, 25. 2 times 3, 6. And then we changed back to a mixed number. 25 divided by 6 is going to give us 4, remainder 1. So whole number 4, numerator 1, original denominator 6. And there's our final answer. All right, let me make one up for you, and you can give it a try, and then we are done with multiplication. Let's see, how about 5 and 2/3? And let's multiply that by, 1 and 1/2. How's that? All right, go ahead and give that one a try on your own. Pause the video, do it, and come back and check it. Okay, hopefully you've had time to do this now and you have your answer. So let's do it together. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2, 17. And those are thirds. Multiplied by 2 times 1 plus 1, which is 3 halves. Now we have canceling. There's a 3 in common here, so I'll cancel out those 3's, leaving 1's. Now I multiply straight across. 17 times 1, 17. 1 times 2, which is 2. Improper, so I need to change that to a mixed number. 17 divided by 2. 2 goes into 17 8 times, and 1 left over. So that looks like 8 1/2. And there we go. All right, that ends multiplying fractions and mixed numbers.